Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living
with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Payne.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon, broadcasting live out of the Sunset Gower Studios where Scandal and Murder, She Wrote and Newsroom are filmed. And it is the home of UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network. And then every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 4 on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere on iHeartRadio. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. No Kardashian talk at all. No T-words, no 43rd president, no any of that. What we're talking about is how to tune your reality show into more hope and happiness so you can be happy 88% of the time. And I am really sad that I have to tell you this. This is my last show on the air. I'm not going to be here any longer. Very funny, Tony. April Fools. He got me. That was a reverse April Fools. Oh, I love you. If I look like you, I'd be miserable too. Just kidding. I love you, Tony. So we're going to start over and say, starting with peace shout out to all the interesting people I got to meet the last week and a half. It was a super packed 8 stages in 12 days, starting with all of my new students and standing room only audience at the Best You Expo at the Long Beach Convention Center. Over 4,000 in attendance, thanks to Bernardo Moya. Peace in, peace out at the convention center. And I had most of them at my talk, standing room talk, and in my 3 classes. Also, peace in, peace out to my new audience at Grossmont College, all the classified peeps, and also at the K's event, including Oprah's man, Stedman, who was speaking with Steve Farber, my fabulous friend and colleague, and I get to go on his stages as well as my BFF in San Diego, Maureen. Also, peace in, peace out to the Arise, a reason to include and support everyone summit that I got to speak at, thanks to my Ladybug friend, Chief Donna Lawrence, as well as my Agape Love Burrito choir members. We got to go perform at UCLA fundraiser for the nonprofit Protecting Our Oceans, and they honored Pierce Brosnan, and I got to flash peace with him. And we rocked it Easter Sunday a couple times, 3 times on stage, so peace in, peace out to my Love Burrito Agape International choir members. And excellent customer service, shout out to Zachary from Somalia, my Uber driver down in San Diego, my Amtrak team, Antonio, Yolanda, and Dory, the Far Kitchen, Harry, and Julie. And because I balance out all of the bad news out there, I also want to give a shout out for excellent customer service and not complain. And today, to celebrate our April Fool's show this week, I can't think of a better person to come and talk and get to know one of the funniest men, definitely, that I've met this year so far. Jimmy Rooney is the son of icon Mickey Rooney. He's voiced some of the world's most endearing cartoon characters in Hollywood, including performing as one of the original Archie's cartoon. Jimmy is capable of impersonating over 400 different voices and has performed all over the world. I'm going to see if I can count throughout this show how many we get. I met Jimmy on the red carpet at the Grove, where billionaire John Paul DiGiorio and Emmanuel Kelly were also performing. Please welcome to my studio, Jimmy Rooney.
I'm sorry, he's not here right now. How'd you get in there? I don't know. You thought I was a chocolate bunny. Sorry. Hi, everybody. How's it going? A little guy gets in my pocket and I want to have chocolate. Oh, I'm hungry. Just sit down. Calm down. Have the water. I love you. Okay. Sorry.
So what's your favorite voice to do? Or who asked you to do that?
You know, it's kind of funny. If I go back and say, hi, this is Mickey, then Goofy's going to go, gosh, Mickey, I thought I was your favorite voice, sir. Tweety go, oh, I'm so good. Or, howdy, Mr. Ranger, sir. I thought I was your favorite because I'm the oldest. I'd have to say they're all equally my favorite.
Yeah.
Can't choose one over the other.
No.
know?
Which Archie's cartoon?
I was the original Archie's. I was the original. There was a lot of stuff with Don Kirshner, a lot of guys that were involved, but my job was to help sing and do some of the voices and some of the ADR, which is automated dog replacement. And I had my first cartoon when I was 8. My dad would drag me around. I was at Buddha Records, and along comes Don Arden, says, hey, we got a cartoon with we need a singer. And they brought in a couple guys, and then my job was to go in and do the whole thing all over. So it was kind of fun. So I did the Archies, and then I got into Casper. I got into a lot of the superheroes. I'm the first crazy, the first guy to do the actual, this is so old, you guys. I had to do a comic book, talking comic book, and now comes the cassette. You're looking at the cassette, and my voice is Superman. Don't do it, you know what I mean? So, it was like kind of real exciting to get into doing. I'm the first official voice of Leapfrog.
Leapfrog?
It's the most famous, it's the biggest toy learning tool in the world. Because I work with a lot of autistic children.
That's right.
So it is the biggest toy. So I became the voice of Leapfrog for the kids because, my voice is so different, he says. So it's like, in a world where nothing else matters.
And why did you start working with autistic kids?
I don't know. It was, because I grew up with ADHD, and back then they didn't know what it was. So the nuns would lock me in a room and say, go. And I'd have to do things. I'm like, ow, 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 ow. You have to create voices. So I started working with music. I learned to play roughly 60 instruments and sing in 100 languages and speak 7 and do 4, so it's kind of fun. It's like, I remember being on stage in Belgium, and I think Miss Manelli was like, audience was yelling, sing somewhere, somewhere. And she looked over at me and said, come on, you're the voice. And I went, ladies and gentlemen, my tribute. And I went, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? Hey, you're from Kansas, right?
Wow, that's super good.
Yeah, so it's pretty lucky.
So was she impressed with the impersonation?
I'm hoarse right now because I just finished a new movie, but I've been doing like voices and singing, and hey, it's great to be a Beatle, Paulie. Are you keeping track of all the voices, love?
Yes.
So.
We're on 18. I'm actually counting.
I thought you said 51st president. Sorry. So, but and so I, working with autistic children growing up, I kind of was treated, poorly and different. Even though you were the son, I was an illegitimate son, which made me even worse. Wikipedia, you have no idea what you're talking about. And my brother, Mickey Jr., and I used to joke about it. But I was very fortunate because even though I was raised in an orphanage, my father would pick me up, take me around Hollywood. And here I am sitting with to me, they were just my dad's girlfriends' wives or whatever. But I was sitting here next to Grace Kelly, Marilyn Monroe, Ava Gardner. I was with Miss Gardner when she passed away. I was very fortunate. But I got to meet, these crazy guys that were so much fun back then.
Yeah. So I'm back at Wikipedia. Hold on
Sorry.
1 second. So wait.
There's a lot of stuff on Wikipedia
Yeah.
they don't get. It's kind of funny. It's like I was talking to I was talking to one of my lawyers, and I said, why can't we put up what really happened in our family? You have to be someone that didn't belong. So these guys are writing books about my dad. They weren't even there. They're like, how can you tell me that? And my brother looks at me and goes, you should really write a book. And I go, it's not the issue whether I should write a book. It's the issue of if you're going to tell the truth, tell the truth.
Right.
There are some people in this country I don't believe. Our president's one of them, but he says something that's very true in Hollywood. Fake news. Because I've seen so much stuff come out, and
you tell
crazy.
me the real story then.
Of
We'll
which
start that. We'll preview the book now. We'll
my
launch
stories
this.
are kind of boring.
No, I mean, people. Your dad was like amazing. The last of the silent movie.
Yeah.
He was an entertainer. He had that longevity. Yeah. He went.
And I was arguing with the Oscars. I said, my dad is 84. The Oscars are 73. Hello. hello. It's like it should be the Mickey Rooney Award.
Oh, that's
It's
funny.
like, but
That's
I mean,
funny.
you know, isn't that
so,
funny?
So how old? So I knew about the ladies. I knew there was 8 different
everyone
women.
knows of, yeah.
Everybody knows.
There
That's
were
true.
more, yeah.
That was true of the marriages.
There
and
were
then
more marriages.
your mom, he had an affair with.
Right, a different lady. That's
different
not in
lady.
the Wikipedia, right?
That's not in the Wikipedia. And did you have a relationship with her?
No, I never. My
never-
father kept me going, and the nuns. Back then, you know, if you had an illegitimate child, it would destroy your career.
Right.
I was so amazed when I was sitting here with John Clark Gable, you know, the son of Clark, and we're looking. I go, John, you know, you got a sister. He goes, oh my God. I go, no, really, and she's got the same ears as you. And she was the nicest girl, but you know, a lot of these guys had children that weren't.
So when did you find out that he was your dad?
On an interview, I think, actually, because I think his name was Randy Bellis. He's a producer here in Hollywood, and he was interviewing my dad for his life story, something, and he goes, oh, yeah, and that's my other son right there. And I went, thanks, Dad.
So you didn't know?
No.
But he would pick you up and take you places. You just thought he was...
Well, you know, in the orphanage, people came and took the kids to see if they wanted to bring them, and he kept coming back. Remember, I was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
When I hit 11 and 12, I, kind of ran away from the orphanage. I was like, let's go, Harry! Run, Forrest! Name's not Forrest, but I'm running. So, you can only take nuns slapping the back of the neck with a ruler for so long. Yeah. What
So
are you
where
doing?
did you go?
I went to New York and I started singing. I met up with Buddha Records. With Chuck Walls was the president, and he's because I was underage, he couldn't really sign me, but I became the ghostwriter for a lot of singers, and like give me a word and I'll write you a song kind of thing on the piano. And I was only like 10 or 11.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate. And
So that also, I have this theory that kids who have autism or ADHD
Thank you.
have like brilliance that we just don't recognize. Our school system can't recognize.
Right, but if you go to Europe, I can introduce you to all these multi-million billionaires who help people who have ADHD, Branson. All these guys are like, maybe ADHD isn't a bad thing.
Right.
Right.
Right. I think that I think you're
here's
definitely
a
onto
a
something.
short little white guy from Jersey can jump high, and then these guys look at me, whoa, we want that little dude on our team.
Yeah. And if you're just tuning in and you're wondering which voice I'm talking to today, I am blessed to have Jimmy Rooney, the son, the bio son of Mickey Rooney. Wikipedia is wrong. And he is here in studio now entertaining us. And I'm getting to know him as usual because, that's the way I do my interviews. And he started like talking before we started. And I'm like, no. Stop. Leave it for the show. This is...
Yeah, I want to talk to you. Where are you, Jimmy?
Take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. So, all right. So you didn't run over to your dad's and say, hey, like, take care of me?
Oh, no. That was like, no,
Can't
cardinal
do that.
sin. Well, one day I was on a set. I think I was like 6 years old, and he was filming a movie, and there was a bike on the set. And I go, hey, Dad, can I have the bike? He goes, yeah. So I start walking over to get the bike. He goes,
Oh, wait. Back up.
am I too fast for you? Should I slow
Yeah.
down?
So when did you start calling him Dad?
When I was 4, 5.
So he said, call me Dad?
Yeah, no, Jimmy. It was always, your name is Jimmy, and
Right.
I'm Mr. Rooney. It's always
Okay.
Mr. Rooney. So I was like, hey, Dad. He gets so mad.
Oh, okay. He wasn't thrilled about that.
No,
being
it was
called out.
Mr. Rooney.
Mr. Rooney,
So,
okay.
so it was kind of funny because I said, "Hey, I want to get, I want the bike," and he says, "Cool." And then I started to get the bike. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I want the bike." He goes, "Get a job." So he comes back about an hour later, and I'm dragging cable, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I got a job."
Good for you.
So,
Good
yeah.
for you. Well,
But-
of all the kids, you look like him the most.
Yeah, isn't that kind of weird? The
Yeah.
illegitimate one is the one that looks the most.
yeah.
Even Mickey Jr. said to me, he goes, "You want my name?" I go, "No, I got enough problems." If I go by my other name, no one will know.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
But I was very fortunate. I knew Liberace. All the stuff I see. I watch these movies about people, Marilyn Monroe and all. I'm like, man, I was there. And
Yeah.
that wasn't like that. It's not. These guys, you
okay.
know what? They got in a lot of trouble, but it wasn't bad trouble. It was kind of fun trouble. I remember, I remember we were in Vegas, and I wasn't allowed to go on the set, and I didn't know who this guy was. I was like 15, and he had a baseball cap on, And my dad goes, you got to stay here for the day. I got to go gamble. You can't come with me. So this man sitting next to me goes, hey, kid, you want to go get some banana splits? I said, sure. Because my dad left me with him. I'm here.
Banana splits and hamburgers,
yeah,
cheeseburgers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the man.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So he, you got to go to, I got to give you my website. I got to hear what I did. So I walk in and he's like, hey, kid. He goes, come on. And we're the only two in this coolest, like all buffet restaurant in the casino. And he's like, get over there. And we're eating, I'm eating all the desserts. He's eating all the other stuff. Yeah. And he goes, hey, kid, I hear you can do a voice. I go, yeah. He goes, come with me. So he takes me into this theater. And it's like all these people are sitting there, but it's not a show. And he goes, sing. I'll go out in front, you sing. And I went, okay. He goes, what are you going to sing? He goes, just go with the words. He hands me these words. And I'm like, I don't know a song for the life of me.
Yeah.
So, and you guys don't get it. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have headphones.
Right.
We had nothing.
Right.
He'd take you and say, listen to the piano. Da-na-na-na-na. Now sing. And I'd walk out and I said, welcome to my world. And I did the whole thing, you know. I love how you love me. And everybody went crazy. He goes, it's not me singing, people, it's him. And it was Mr. Presley, Mr. P. And it was unbelievable that I got to see him like 4 or 5 times as a kid, you know, right before, he went back to Nashville and Cincinnati to do his show. But it's kind of fun because my dad, my dad, which was not my dad, but I call him my dad now. He would, my stepdad, my adopted dad, my caramba. Sorry, I'm just memorizing. So I remember one day we had to go. He wanted to go gambling, and he comes, and he picks me up and this other kid, and it's Mickey Rooney, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and Danny Thomas, and what's his name, Red Skelton. And I'm in this old car, and we're driving like in the hottest desert in the world. Now, there's no air conditioning. They got the windows down. They're all singing and smoking cigars, and I'm sweating like a pork belly pig back in the back seat. So we get into Vegas. And I didn't even know it was Vegas because it doesn't have signs and everything like that.
Right, back in the day.
Right, so he goes down this dirt road. He goes, get out of the car and go to the house over there. I go, Dad, you're leaving me. You guys are leaving me like you're crazy.
Yeah,
you're leaving me in the desert. And you want me to go to the house? And I asked Mr. Skelton, I said, why is he dropping me off here? He goes, because he has no reverse, so he can't back up the car and go around the street. So we got to drop you off and keep going straight. Otherwise, we all got to get out of the car and push the car.
Oh my goodness,
it's the funniest thing, right?
Funny.
So I walk up to this house. It's the coolest thing, you guys. Yeah. I walk up to the house, and here's this. Now you got to remember, back then there are no intercoms. There's this giant gate, and it's got these initials on it, but next to the gate, there's nothing around it. So I could walk around the gate. So I'm outside at the gate going, hello, hello. And the window opens up and says, come through the gate. I go, it's locked. So the voice goes, come around the gate. So I just kind of go around the gate.
Whose house was this?
I'll tell you in 2 seconds. You won't believe it.
Okay.
And the sad thing, you guys and everybody's that we didn't have cameras. We didn't have cell phones. Hello, world. Cell phones didn't come out until 2001.
Yeah.
I was 90 years old when I got my first. So I had to walk around the house, and then I'm up at the door, and at the window, there's knock on the door. I go, are you kidding me? He goes, knock on the door. So I knock on the door, and the door opens up, and the most gorgeous white mink coat is all the way to the floor, and I look in, and he goes, welcome to my house, son. It was Liberace. And I went, you're. And he goes, you're. He says, come in. And that's when I first got my taste of playing the piano.
Wow.
You know?
On Liberace's piano. Not a bad way to start.
Well, his swimming pool was the shape of a piano. There's so,
Wow.
I mean, and I got to go see him a lot because my dad gambled a lot. My dad liked the racehorses, but I do remember.
Is that what the demise was of the fortunes?
No, the demise of the fortune. Now, it got longer. I would pay my father's bills. I bought him a house, took care of him. And his lawyers would say, hey, we need a little money here and there. And I said, that's fine. I would send my dad money. And it was no problem. But then I found out he married this lady named Jan Chambers. And I wasn't around then. I was 16. I was off touring the world. And she, for some reason, I could never get through to my dad. Neither could my brother, Mickey Jr. So I just flew into New York, said, hey, honey, I got my own jet. I'll do what I want. And I get on the elevator, and she's on the elevator, and she looks at me and she goes, wow, you look just like my husband. I go, really? I go, you'd be surprised. And so she got out, and I followed her to the room and knocked on the door, and I talked to my dad for the first time in years because she didn't want me around my dad because she had her own children. And that's when my father and I went to Congress complained about the elderly
Elder
abuse.
right.
And we won a lot.
I had Casey Kasem's daughter,
Yeah.
Carrie, on the.
It's
too.
weird. And I knew him. He was so fun
Yeah,
on the radio.
Casey
And I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we know what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then I guess with these chambers, they spent every dime my dad had. And the lawyer's like, can you give him and pay off your dad's debt? And I said, no worries, I paid it off,
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt like, I sue these people and I win.
So-
But I caramba.
So the financial troubles weren't because of the gambling. It
No,
was
not at all.
always,
No, my dad was cool. He knew how to gamble.
Okay.
I remember even Frank Sinatra, Mr. Sinatra. We were where were we? I think we were at the Sands, and he goes, "Listen, kid," he goes, I might hate your dad, but he's a genius." I go, "Why do you hate my dad?" He goes, "He married Ava Gardner first." And
That's funny. And then again, 8 times, right?
Yeah, 8 other ones. Well, yeah, that we know, but there were a couple that were annulled that were very famous.
That you saw them together.
Oh yeah.
That was the one.
Right. Well, it was funny because, Mr. Goldwyn and Mr. Mayor Samuel Goldwyn and stuff would tell me about Marilyn and my dad. And I remember that. It was really funny. Earl Flynn, my dad and Judy were not to be together at all. They didn't want them together. So Earl Flynn would pick up my dad, put him in the back seat of that old car with the bumper that goes in the back. He'd close it, and he would drive him across the lot and pretend he's meeting with Mrs. Garland to go out and have dinner. Well, Mr. Flynn was drunk so much that he would drive the car right into Mr. Goldwyn's office and leave my dad in the car for like 2 days. He's like, "Get me out of the car." So, but it was fun, innocent, fun stuff. These guys weren't trying to, kill each other. And I knew Rock Hudson. He was a very nicest guy. And liberal. He says, call him Lee, but my stepdad to be or whatever always said it's Mr. Liberace, Mr. So he always did that. But I had so much fun with these guys. It's like it was a different world. I'm telling you, his coats weighed more than me. I'm like, I'm carrying this coat and I'm sweating to death. He goes, "Can you get me the little blue one?" I go, "The little blue one's like 6 foot long."
Yeah. So did your dad have an affair with Marilyn Monroe?
Oh, he dated her.
He dated her?
You guys, here's a funny story. My dad was
so much for my no gossip on the air.
Oh, come on,
right?
I could tell you that. Yes, yeah,
I'm sorry. It's April Fool's. It's April Fool's.
Well, it's funny. My dad. I'll tell you a whole story about Elizabeth Taylor next time. But just to tell you, Miss Taylor, was 14. My dad was 21 when he was dating her. Oh yeah, and he got her first job. And we'll talk about that another time because these people run and go home and sleep or something. But no, the gossip.
Casting couch?
No, not even close.
Okay, good.
No, my dad.
I want to make sure
it's funny.
That's not.
I remember Sammy Davis, and you can even look it up. Mr. Davis said, I watched your dad one day walk into a room, and they all just treated him like royalty. He goes, "I learned from your father." So he would talk to my dad about how to present himself. And my father didn't see color. There's no black, no white, no color excuses. You had talent, you used it, you got it, and you made it. And I mean, so it was kind of interesting to see who my father, Sidney Poitier, Martin Landau, would all tell me your dad was the most amazing actor. Good example. Your audience is probably too young to remember any of this, but there was a show called Twilight Zone. My father's the only one that ever did a whole episode by himself.
Wow.
And Rod Serling would say, "That was amazing." So it's kind of fun. But I'm glad. It's funny when I travel around the world and I do a lot of shows and I sing lead for the Jersey Boys. I do Grease. I've done a lot of famous voices for singers that don't sing. Well, that's another gossip story later. Okay. Then the two of us need look no more. So anyway, and you don't know. I don't understand this lady. So anyway, she really doesn't know this guy.
No,
so,
I'm really bad with
she's
names.
Funny.
Everybody.
But and people would know my dad all over the world. I remember the Queen. I got to meet the Queen, and my dad. It was really
Mrs. Queen.
Queen Elizabeth, the 2nd, 4th, or 5th, whatever she is this week. She's been around forever. I remember I had to go to this dinner party, and there was a prince there. I say his name, but he was like, "Do what your dad did to my grandma." And I said, "Cool." So I'm sitting there rubbing my hands. I go, "Let's do this. So as the Queen is coming down the line, shaking his hand, you have to bow, Your Majesty. I leaned down, I went to bow, and then these giant guards with those red black hats, step in front of me, and she just looks through the curtain and goes, "Are you the Rooney?" And I said, "Yes, Your Majesty. Your father is the only man in history to ever touch my tushy, and I heard you were going to do the same thing." I said, I was like, "Harry, you dumb cracker."
You got busted.
Yeah, I got
before
busted.
You could bust.
It was fun, but it was kind of fun. So, but they let me get in and I go, hey, I was in Beatlemania for several years, Paulie. We should do a song for all of you. We do. Hope you like it. Ringo, what do you want to do? I don't want to. George, me guitar's having a great time. Close your eyes.
Okay, we're up to 59.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Or how about,
yeah.
oh my God, you're a hooker. Oh, I shouldn't say it on television, should I? This is your Uncle Arthur. I just fell flat on my face. I don't believe it. Hello, would you like to be a Bond girl? Shaking, not stirred.
Pierce Brosnan. I just met him.
He doesn't have a voice. I like Pierce. He's fun. He's alive. Wait, so Stallone. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Adrian Apollo. I'll be back, wrong guy. I'm so confused. Oops, sorry.
What is your real voice?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's like
beginning
the
to-
cop's like, he's like, pull over, and I go, Officer O'Malley, you got 311 on 42 leak. Let's go around.
So what happened with the whole stepson stuff? Was that a Chambers? Was that?
Yeah, that was
the
Chambers. I never really met them because we got, my brother Mickey Jr. and I couldn't get access to him. But then I show up.
From what? How old was he at that time?
Well, he was 10 years older than me. Close to 10 or 15 years older. 10 years older.
No, your dad.
Oh, my dad.
Yeah.
It was in 77 when he married Mrs. Chambers.
Okay, so he was.
Because I
how
ran.
old?
Yeah.
How old was he?
Oh God, I don't know. It's 77. He was 93 when he died 2 years ago.
So
70.
70, and she was
Something.
how old?
Younger. But here's gossip. Gossip.
I
Jan Chambers was dating my brother Mickey Rooney Jr. before she hooked up with my father.
oh. So
That'll
okay.
mess you up.
Yeah.
My brother is like, didn't know what hit him. I go, she's just trying to become famous. I go, come on,
Yeah.
It's like, come on. And he's like, no. He's a nice Christian boy. I said, next time carry the sword of Lady Godiva or something, or Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc. So that's the gossip for you today.
Okay.
But it was
So
fun.
let's stop the gossip and balance it out with the good stuff. So the good stuff is
Easter.
what? Yeah.
Chocolate.
What?
Down, I'm telling you.
Now I asked you on the carpet what your favorite thing that you remember about your dad, and you said his laugh. What other, like, what did he help grow in you that you love, and or what you saw him do for other people?
Well, one day, that hit me hard. One day I'm at a dinner on the MGM. Was it the MGM lot? I think no, it was on the Warner Brother lot. It had Bob Hope, my dad, James Cagney, and they were all sitting at this dinner table. And I walk in, the young crazy
How old?
guy. I think I was like 20 something,
Okay.
and I had just sold my first casino, but built my first casino. And
In Vegas?
No, actually, I had built it with the Indian tribes in northern New York,
Okay.
upstate New York, and then I had built one in Europe. I still have them, but it was kind of funny because I wanted to do something where I could get money because I couldn't get any money in the movie industry. Or can you sing for me? Oh, so I was sitting down with my dad and them, and my dad at the time then, and I look at James Cagney and my dad, Mr. Rooney. My dad goes, "You do all these voices. Do Mr. Cagney's most famous line in this movie. Come on, we're all excited." So Bob Hober stops it, and I look over. Hey, Mr. Cagney, what? You dirty rat! And the room got quiet. He grabbed the table. Through the table. He grabbed me, put me up against the wall, and said, "Listen here, punk. Not in one movie did I ever say, you dirty rat. I'm going to make you watch every one of my movies, punk." And I look at my dad. I go, "Help me." He goes, "Nope, kid, your problem." So it was kind of he goes, "That's a faux pas." But
Wait. I didn't follow that because I'm not a movie
Okay, we'll go
buff.
back.
So, yeah,
Never mind.
it's just-
Let's go back to the question. This runs up to
Okay,
the question.
okay.
These poor movie people. So I'm sitting with my, Mr. Rooney and all that, and I look at him. I go, "Hey, Dad, why didn't you give me anything?" And he smacks me in the back of the head. And so does James Cagney. He says, "Listen here, kid. I gave all your brothers and stepbrothers, Chamber, all this money. They're alcoholic druggies. I didn't give you a dime. You have a private jet. You have your own car company. You have a casino. You travel around the world in the blink of an eye. And I built hospitals. I built a couple hospitals for autistic children and for battered, wives and stuff." And he goes, "What didn't I give you?" And I realized, I get it, Dad. So can I have your car? He had the coolest 1960 Continental
He
Lincoln.
said no.
Of
so,
course.
so he gave you the
Ouch.
space.
He gave me look, when you earn it, you respect it. And something I have on my plaque at my office is respect is earned, not given. If you show me you value, I know and I always tell people when you go to an interview, value yourself higher than the people talking to you. I had a really amazing story. I'm walking into Arco one night. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm off the set. And this man yells, "Is that Jimmy Rooney?" And I didn't see him. It was dark in middle of nowhere. I'm like, okay. So I come out with, I have my cupcake and my Dr. Pepper. Oh, no, product placement. Sorry, guys. And the guy yells, "Jimmy Rooney." And I go, "Yeah, that's me." He runs up to me. He says, "Do you remember me?" And I said, kind of, "No, sir." He goes, "Long hair. You would come from the Disney lot every day over to the music store and bring me a tuna sandwich and talk to me about playing the guitar," because I played. He goes, "And all these guys in the store would tease me because they had the long hair and the tattoos. And you said to me," and I even just got a text from the other day, and I hadn't seen him for 25 years. He goes, "Every day you came in and told me, don't let these guys get to you. You're better than they are. They're jealous because you have talent. Someday you're going to be better than they are, and you're going to be able to look back and say, see, never step on someone that you don't know where they're going." He looked at me, took off his Rolex, said, "Here's my $1 million Rolex." He goes, "I am now one of the biggest agents for NFL players in the United States because you motivated me." And his wife was standing there crying. She goes, "And our kids want to thank you too."
Wow,
I said,
that's
so that,
cool.
when you touch a life like that,
Yeah.
all I did was bring him a sandwich from the commissary because he was working his butt off. I thought, "Here, have a tuna sandwich." I sit down and go, "Blue moon." We'd have fun with the voices. And they were jealous of him because I went to the kid because they were mean to him. All these guys walk around thinking they're God's gift to the entertainment industry, and here I walk in.
Yeah.
You don't do that to people.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are or what you are. Something I grew up in Old Hollywood. This lady says, "Oh, Shivery's not dead because you talk to people. You're nice to them." Are you kidding me? You get a star for being nice to people?
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you say, there are people in Hollywood I wouldn't, but it's kind of sad that now people are, "Wow, we're so happy that I mean, what's his name said to me? Let me think. You don't smoke, drink, cuss, or do drugs. Why are you in Hollywood?" I'm like, "Ouch, Elliot. I want to go home."
That one I know. That's
Okay.
ET. We're on 80, and it's time. We're getting the signal to take a break to thank the sponsors who make this show possible. So we'll be back in 2 and 2 with Jimmy Rooney, son of Mickey Rooney's Peace In and Peace Out.
Are you tired of being tired? Are you ready for more balance in your life? Then come to the beach and work with Dr. Marissa, motivational speaker, author, organizational psychologist, and host of the 2016 Podcast of the Year Top 10 in Health award-winning show, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. If you are ready to choose more hope and happiness no matter what's happening around you, then go to www.drmarissa.tv today. Love films? Support diversity? Then come to the Newport Beach Film Festival, a prestigious multicultural event attracting over 55,000 attendees and screening over 350 films in 8 days. Orange County's largest entertainment event will run April 26th to May 3rd, and yours truly, Dr. Marissa, will be introducing the Chinese Spotlight film on April 30th. So for the best in new, local, internationally, and critically acclaimed cinema, get your tickets at NewportBeachFilmFest.com. That's NewportBeachFilmFest.com.
And welcome back. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network, and then every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 4 on my syndicated CNBC, NBC News Radio channel KCAA AM 1050. FM 102.3, FM 106.5, home of Dave Ramsey and the Stephanie Miller Show and the Asian Oprah. And today we are celebrating April Fools with the son of Mickey Rooney, the icon who we're getting the inside scoop from Jimmy Rooney.
Chocolate and vanilla, please.
Oh, I get it.
I didn't do it.
So here are my favorite Mickey Rooney sayings.
Oh, yeah.
You always pass failure on your way to success, which is what we were just talking about before break.
And it's funny you say that because I have something. It says, in order for me to succeed, I must know what it's like to fail. that's you know,
Yeah.
that's what I got from my dad.
Yeah.
Or
Beautiful.
my stepdad. Yeah.
Yeah. Always
Out,
get
down.
married in the morning. That way, if it doesn't work out, you haven't wasted the whole day.
That's really good.
Love that. I buy women shoes, and they use them to walk away from me.
Yeah.
He did. So
Let's put on a show.
What was that about? Was it he was looking? What was his childhood like? Because yeah.
You know, that's funny because you know I was.
Did you meet your grandparents?
Yeah, but my grandfather was a vaudeville actor. And my dad, you know, Kansas. I remember him telling me a story that they drove from New York, where he was born in Brooklyn, to. Sorry, I don't have New York values. I'm from Jersey. So anyway, he drove from Brooklyn to Kansas. They ran out of gas, so they were sleeping in tents and doing whatever they could in the fields to make money to get way back to L.A. He didn't really know that was my grandfather and grandmother, but he was 3 or 4 years old when he started getting offers to do movies. I mean, Little Rascals, and you know, there's some really
Andy
amazing
Hardy.
stuff. Yeah, you should go. You could see my dad sitting on. This is so weird. Clark Gable's shoulder as a child, and then a couple years later, you'll see Mrs. I loved her. She was so cool.
Ava Gardner?
Yeah, but in the picture, you're going to love this. He was Clark Gable on his shoulder. If you Google, then if you look at that picture, then Google my dad. Right? Nope. Go up right to the right. That one. Nope. Not that one. The one. Click. Nope. Right. That. Not with the four of them. You can do it. Ow. Right there. Now look who those are. That is my dad now as adult, and Clark Gable doesn't look like he aged. Of course, you have who is that? Judy Garland, and who else? On the good ship.
Shirley Temple.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You know, at the MGM studio lot, I used to go, wow, these are so cool. And I remember Mr. Disney telling me the coolest things about my crazy father. You know, and Roy E. Disney. I got to meet all the Disney people. They were really amazing. But it was kind of interesting when you say, you know, he started movies. Look, he's like this big on top. Mr. Gable, I asked my dad because I never got to meet him. And John Clark Gable had died when he was born. He had already died when he was born. And I go, he didn't age a day. He didn't age. I go, how old are you on his shoulder? He goes, I'm 8 years old. I go, how old are you standing next to him? He goes, 20. I go, oh my gosh, what? You know, what did he drink?
Used oil of Olay.
Product placement, yeah. But, you know, and I have really, really cool stories about what Mr. Gable happened to him in his life. And I got to meet Howard Hughes. I got to meet a lot of people that, you know, today they're legends. Back then,
they were just
people. You know, I'm walking in the hotel and here's this guy. And he didn't have long nails, long hair. And he's like, hey, kid, I hear you're in trouble again. I go, yeah, I broke the slot machine because you can't be on the. So I was hanging on it, you know, and it broke down. My dad wanted to kill, or Mr. Rooney wanted to kill me. And I remember, you know, what's his name, who owned the Sands, like, get that little monster out of here. And they go, I think he's one of Rooney's friends. So it was fun. So he was like, come up here, kid. And they ate the weirdest food back then. I mean, you know, there are these things like shrimp that you put in the sauce thing and you'd eat it. And then there'd be little purple things next to it. I thought they were M&Ms. And they were these, I learned caviar. You want to talk about spitting up color all over the room? It's kind of, but you grew up on fun stuff. Here I'm sitting with Mr. Liberace, and he's like, I wish my brother George was here. I'm like, this guy's so cool, you know? And, of course, Mr. Presley, Mr. P, I got to meet him lots and hear him saying, he's like, well, I want to thank you all for coming. I go, there's nobody here. He goes, I got to practice it everywhere I can, son.
So
he was like so cool.
So what are some things that you noticed about all these people who became legends? Was there anything in particular that was, you know, common, or what it takes to be one thing?
They all liked people. They liked you. They talked to you. Mr. Martin would say, remember, when I sing in my shows, Broadway, and when I was doing the Jersey Boys, I walked off stage because, one, I didn't like the language. Because the producer said, we have to bring it up to the 80s. And I remember something Mr. Martin said. He said, son, the smaller the room, the more effective you are. So I went down the street and I did a show for $10. And I was, walk like a man, talk like a man. Did the exact same show as the Jersey Boys that they were paying $1,000 for. And the producer goes, you'll never make any money. I said, it's not about money. And then, of course, I made a couple $100,000 a week because everyone had $10. So what I noticed about, like, Mrs. Ava Gabor, Miss Gabor, and I was with her when she died in the 90s. She was a people person. I just talked to Olivia de Havilland. She's like 103. She's in London. I'm like, she goes, do you remember me? Are you kidding me? It's Edelweiss. Are you kidding? Of course I remember you. But, it was,
We're
think.
over 100 now.
Yeah, God, we're ancient.
No. Of the number of voices. I'm still counting.
Sorry.
We're at like 108.
Sorry, kid. But, it's like, oh, hurt me. Flipper fucking ass. That bad old putty pat. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbit. So, But, no, I think, something I was very honored that what Mr. Cagney said to me, he says, son, you met all these people, and I think you took a little piece of them with you. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so fun to sit and talk with you. He goes, when I hear your stories, it's not through the eyes of somebody.
Right.
You were there. And he goes,
right.
And you look like you were there. He goes, when you tell the story, you get so excited. And you're like, and I remember that, I don't know, TMZ came up to me and said, he goes, the TMZ announcer goes, what do you think of the entertainers today? I go, well, half of them can't say their name backwards. I go, but I can't say my name backwards either. And he starts laughing. And he goes, but what are you looking for? And this is what's on the plaque when I look and audition people. I go, I'm not looking for a star, for a star will fall. I'm not looking for a diva, for a diva will implode. What am I looking for? You want the answer? Scary. I'm not looking for a star will fall. I'm not looking for a diva will implode. I'm looking for a legend, because a legend lives forever. And that's, so when people go, you can't,
Did you say that or did
I did.
Oh, okay.
That's my crazy thing.
That's
Learning of growing up in Hollywood, because I see this talent come and go. And I'm like, really? Yeah, okay. There are people I could tell you about. I won't. It's not an issue of who did what, where, and when. It's just that people are pretty smart enough to walk in and say, you don't sound anything like the record. Or you don't sound like it. Like I have a live show at the candy store, Sweet, which is your last name, starting, I think, next month. And it's all about growing up in Hollywood. And I even bring kids on and teach them how to do voices. You want to be a minion?
Cool.
Apple, banana. And then across the street, I'll be doing the Legends of Hollywood show and showing videos. And you guys, what's so weird is there's so many videos now. I can't find anything. I have to go to the MGM archives, and he's, Jim, I think this is your dad. I can't tell. Because we didn't have the pictures. But he goes, but you have the stories and the voices. Like one day I'm sitting on the couch in Palm Springs with my brother Mickey Jr. Now, mind you, he's like 10, 11 years older than me. And my dad comes running in the room, Mr. Rooney at the time, because I wasn't old enough to know he's my dad. And he goes, tell her I'm in the bathroom. And he jumps behind the couch. And then Mrs. Monroe comes walking in. Where's your father? Oops, sorry. And my father goes, my Mickey Jr. says, oh, in the bathroom. So she runs towards the back bathroom. Then Mr. Rooney jumps over the couch, and my stepbrother, Mickey Jr., goes, what's wrong? He goes, I'm dating Elizabeth Taylor. I got to get the blank out of here. So it's kind of fun. And I got to, one day I was at, we were at a restaurant, and she wrote a letter. And then I said, well, ma'am, you signed it Norma Jean. She goes, that's who I am. Your father created Marilyn Monroe for Mr. Goldwyn and Mr. Mayer. I go, so it's kind of cool. And all these stories, Mickey Rooney is not named after Mickey Mouse. Bunk. I talked to Walt Disney, Roy O. Disney, Roy E. Disney, and Dana Disney, who just passed away. They said, yes, he was. The name of Mickey Mouse was Mortimer Mouse. And Mrs. Disney hated that name. So one day my dad was having dinner over there, and Mr. Disney goes, and my dad and Mr. Disney were really good friends. And my brother and my dad were at opening day at Disneyland. Of course, I wasn't around. Ouch. So, so he goes, I hate that name. And my dad goes, use my name. And Mickey Mouse. So my dad would always yell at me because my job, and this, we'll get back to this part. My dad, they said, use my name, Mickey Mouse. So my dad would always yell at me. He goes, hey, do you get any residuals for all those voices you do for all these other people and singers? I go, do you get any voices for Mickey Mouse? Any residuals for Mickey Mouse? He goes, they didn't have residuals back then. So whether you read this and all these guys, I was there. It's real. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm not saying it's because my father, I believe in the truth. And I don't care. The truth is the best.
Pretty cool. I hadn't even heard of that.
Yeah. Well, also what I'm known as, if you go to my website, you can see DisneyVoices.com. I have a site up that has all the Disney characters on it. If I didn't do the voices, I couldn't have the site up. Hello? So if you read what my site says, it says Jimmy is the ADR, automated dialogue replacement. My job is when those famous people, who by the way are gone now because of sexual harassment, but I'm still here. Sorry, no comment. That's gossip. They're all gone now, but I'm still here. My job, they would call me and say, look, it's so-and-so can't do the part. Get over here. And my job was to go in and go, hi, boy, I sure wish I could help you. Gosh, I'm going with you too. I mean, it was on,
Okay.
So that's how ADR is. So if you want to get in the, young ladies and boys and girls, if you want to get in the entertainment industry, go into voiceovers and ADR. There's millions of jobs, and you can do them from home, and you're safe. Yeah, isn't that great?
And how do you do that? Do you just practice a lot?
No, you're mentally deranged. But, how do I do it? Well, what I do is very, very different and unique. But, regular radio shows like, Dr. Pepper is our favorite drink. They're just looking for a voice. And I taught voiceovers for free. I didn't charge like all these stars. I'll teach you how to do a voice, and you charge me $100, $300 an hour. I go, hey, you guys want to learn a voice? Great. When you become successful, do me a favor, pass it on. Help the next kid in the generation.
And that is why you are getting Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Right, and the Nestle's pure.
I want one.
Not everyone gets that award, but
Thanks.
and I wasn't planning on giving you the award because I had no idea that you were doing all these things with your light. You are, shining it into areas of darkness.
If you go to I have a website with audio greeting cards. Read it carefully. It says if you have a special needs child, I'll give it to them free.
That's
With any of the favorite voices. So if you're not feeling well, you're not good, it's like,
Oh, I know your tummy hurts, but that's okay. You'll feel better later. Just listen to your mommy and daddy.
they love that. It's like, oh, Taylor Rogers, little dude, you want to ride the AOC? Or is it the EOC? I don't know, dude. Taylor Rogers, I'm dyslexic. But it's okay, dude. You'll make it anyway. I know,
That's
scary.
cool. That's cool.
So you got to give back. It's the only way. And, my show is free. I do a lot of free shows for the children and the parents. If they want to donate money to the charity, do it. Have some fun. We've got to help each other. There's too much negativity running around.
Yep.
You got to have fun. You got to, you know what? I'm walking down the street and I say hi to somebody. They go, why'd you say hi? Because I like your smile. And then next thing you know, they're laughing. I've had people go, you're the only person that can do that. I go, no, everyone can.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to want to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to. I'm driving down the road, you guys, and I'm in my car, and my foot hits the gas pedal. I have a sports car, and I rip around these two big guys in a SUV truck, right? And they think I'm cutting them off at the light, so they're flipping me off. So I get out of my sports car and I walk back to them. They're looking at me, these big guys. I go, I'm sorry, I hit the gas pedal. And they both went, oh, we're so sorry for calling you names. And they're hugging me, and I go, hey, guys, I love you, gotta go. We're holding up traffic, But you see, they didn't. If people don't know, they won't get it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, making assumptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But Hollywood is. When I grew up, it was exciting. It was different. The Oscars, everything. It wasn't. It's funny. Everyone talks about why people win. Look, it's not about your color. It's not about your race. It's not about your ethnicity. It's not about your mentality. It's about your talent. If you have talent, you deserve it.
And everyone has a
talent.
unique gift, talent,
You know what's
and
funny?
ability.
Yeah, I have this saying. I said, you know what? I go, God gave you a gift, and guess what? If you don't believe in God, He gave you one too.
And with that, we're going to have to end the show. It's
Adios,
gone out.
muchachos.
Yeah,
And I didn't even do half my voices.
I know. Well, you're at like 127.
Pressing out of 400.
So out of
Oh my God.
400, but that's
It's
not
like,
bad.
I
for
want
the
to buy
show.
Janag.
Right. Real quick, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to answer my last question that I
didn't
ask
do it.
all my guests. Yes. Who are you grateful to, or what are you grateful for?
If you don't want the answer, you shouldn't ask the question. Of course, I believe in God.
Oh, no.
But who am I
mean,
grateful for?
Yeah, or for or to, like who kind of, made you, who influenced you the most?
God.
Yeah. Okay.
Without God, I wouldn't. I see
that's
people,
good. That's
but I
good.
just say people go. I go. No one does what I do in the world. If anyone's out there listening, let's have some fun and get on TV and do it together. For every one voice you do, I'll do 10. For every song you sing, I'll sing 4. You got to get people going, and you not challenge them to defeat them. You challenge them to make them better.
Yeah.
So when people go, when I step on stage, I looked up, and I would wink at, the sky, and someone would say, "What are you winking at?" I go, "If you don't know, then you need to find out." Mm-hmm. And then I can go, "Who would you like to hear? A Beatle, Michael Jackson, Ben, the two of us." She's out of my life, dimed indecisions and cursed pride.
Well, we could definitely do like 2 hours, but
Sorry.
I'm getting the signal. Thank you for coming on.
Electrical.
Thank you so much for coming
welcome.
to
Bye,
my
guys.
studio. This
Taco
is
Bell.
Jimmy Rooney, son of Mickey
Cheers.
Rooney. And we're at the end of the show where I invite you to my balance bar. My balance bar. Tony hasn't sound engineered for me for a little while. He's like, there you go. It's April Fool's. So, first thing, Asian Oprah giveaway, 2 tickets. Another pass at the Newport Beach Film Festival. I'm one of the sponsors of the Chinese Spotlight Pacific Rim Showcase. So if you would like 2 tickets, please go to my website, the number 4balance.org, and fill out the contact and say Newport. And then you'll get the 2 free passes for the party on April the 30th. But please go to newportbeachfilmfest.com. I'll be introducing the Chinese Spotlight film. I'll be on the red carpet for the main opening, and it's a great time. Really great movies and my local Orange County community. All right, and Balance Bar, balance tip for day 3 on the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa in its 8th year. It's easier to stop a bad habit like complaining if you have a new habit to replace it with. For 82 consecutive months, we've been running this fast online. I want you to join it. Starting today, I'll be posting my gratitudes every single day until day 21. Please join the fast. Buy the 99-cent app on both platforms, made by teenagers. Sign up if you want to try to win my pack of motivational cards if you do 21 consecutive days. And the retreat in Sedona, if you want to learn moving and still meditation, then come and sign up to go with me May 19th and 20th in Sedona, Arizona. And yes, I am teaching this week at Rosie's Dog Beach. If you're local to Long Beach, it's balanced Tai Qigong, promoting inner peace one breath at a time. If not, you can get the DVD on my Balance products. All proceeds go to my peace work around the planet. And thanks to Corey Bowden, I now have it non-DVD form. If you want to download it, you can also get it at my store. Next week, I know that I'm not a music show, but I keep meeting amazing musicians. If you miss my interviews with Billboard #1 Keiko Matsui or Paul Cordall, make sure you or Tony Tennille, make sure you subscribe free on my YouTube to see those shows. Next week, I continue bringing great music with the Corn Brothers from Australia, and also hope for anyone suffering from bipolar order. One of the brothers has it, and we'll be talking about how he cured himself from bipolar. As usual, bringing guests in to help you get to 88% happiness exclusively on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.